Starting in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that sings its intro. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey. With me, as always, is my co-host, the spectacular, the dazzling, the jazz hand man himself, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine. I have allergies that are kicking my ass.
You're a little snippy today, too.
Oh, I'm very snippy today. This should be interesting. I mean, we don't have any topics that I'm going to be like angry about yet. I don't know.
We'll find. Well, I'll find that anger. I'll seek it out.
Yeah, you'll find something. But I'm a little bit snippy today, so prepare for that if you're listening. Happy Mother's Day to any moms that for some reason might listen to the show. If you do, I'm sorry. But anyways, yeah, I'm here and I'm ready to talk about the pro wrestlings. You know, it's kind of weird. I feel like through May we've been pretty like packed with just nonstop stuff. Then the first week, it's like, all right,
yeah,
chill.
This is the first. I feel like this is the eye of the storm. You know, I'm looking at the calendar and it's like, you know, this week, you know, we don't really have like huge topics really, but like next week we have like, you know, Resurgence. We have Night of Champions, Impact Under Siege, Stardom Flashing Champions, more BOSJ, Double or Nothing preview.
Those are all previews, by the way, except for Resurgence. I just want everyone to know that.
Yeah, remove Resurgence to this week so we can make it a little bit easier next week.
Yeah.
Whatever the AEW deal is going to be, and then whatever other news happens. And then
spoiler, it's good. And then I mean, next week, think about that. You made such a great point. We're going to be talking about all the AEW reveal.
Yep.
Like everything that's revealed at the upfront. So we'll officially talk about Collision in like a professional sense. We'll talk about the TV deal that they got, whether it's a lot of money or a lot of money. Spoiler, it's a lot of money.
The two options are.
Yeah. We'll have a lot to talk about there. That'll probably take up half the show. And then, like you just said, we have about 75 previews to do. So I'm sure Impact will be kicked to the side. And we have no wrestling to watch this week. So I guess that's
Well, we have got a bunch of BOSJ, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later, I guess.
But like BOSJ isn't going to take up entire conversation. It might take up like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe.
And then obviously the week after that, we're going to be reviewing a bunch of things, plus talking about Double or Nothing live on Patreon immediately after Double or Nothing, that May 28th.
Yeah. So, we sure will.
Make sure you're on the Patreon now. If
only the $1 tier to hear us live talk about the show. What are you doing?
It's $1. All you gotta do is give up $1.
If you want to hear live reactions, then you got to be there. Obviously, you know, you can hear it the day after. But like if you're vibing after the show or you hated the show, it's a good time to listen to us, because I'm sure I'll feel one way or the other. I don't know if I could hate it yet because I don't know what the card is, but you know.
Yeah, we don't have any. I guess we do have the one confirmed title match.
We have two. We have the tag title match too, unfortunately.
You're right. Well, Jeff Jarrett's going to win the title, and that's going to make the world better. So that's, I'm fine with that. Come on, it's Jeff Jarrett. I want to see him celebrating with his title. You know how great that will be? You know how fantastic it will be to see Jeff Jarrett celebrating with having an actual title? You know how great it was?
CM Punk wants Jeff Jarrett on his show.
What's that?
Nothing. I said there's no way CM Punk wants Jeff Jarrett on his show.
Oh.
No.
Just get higher and higher. Well, here's the thing. If he wants Jeff Jarrett, it comes with Jay Lethal. Does CM Punk want Jay Lethal?
No.
Unless CM Punk is a big sing head. A big
Jay Lethal helped train AJ Lee.
So maybe.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe
Jay
not.
Lethal has some things.
So-
Anyways, we move on.
We move on. But yeah, I think this is the Eye of the Storm. I think next week's got a lot. The week after
And I
that
have
has a
the
lot.
Eye of the Tiger.
The week after that, we're also previewing Dominion. And
Oh
then,
shit, that's coming up too, huh?
yeah, and then like that episode is going to be like our 100th episode, and then we got Dominion, and all together again.
How do you celebrate 100th episode? You do the same thing you did every week.
Exactly right, but just better, but just more prestigious. We're wearing top hats and canes. And
I don't have a top hat.
We'll have monocles.
I don't have a cane either.
I had a top hat at some point.
If I had a monocle, I'd absolutely wear it. All the time.
We'll wear monocles. We'll be drinking tea. That's what we should be doing. That's what I should be doing every Sunday morning, right?
Big tea fella.
Ring Post Radio nights is wine, and then Sunday mornings is me drinking a nice cup of tea with a doily underneath it. You know, just like real fancy.
I don't know why you said doily, but I don't like the word whatsoever.
Should we continue the show? Should we move on with the show?
Yeah, we should probably go. We should probably talk about the wrestling, huh?
Yeah. So, Eye of the Storm conversations. We're gonna be talking BOSJ. Night 1, Night 2. I watched half of Night 3, but just give our overall thoughts at the beginning of the tournament so far. Previewing Resurgence. Scotty watched Queen of the Indies last night from West Coast Pro.
That's fun fact. I learned it's Queen of Indies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There was no the. I thought there was a the this entire time.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, it is Queen of Indies. Interesting. I just looked at the cage match again. Yeah, interesting. Well, he watched Queen of Indies last night. He did not watch Queen of the Indies. That is still yet to be determined. We're all going to be talking about Dynamite. Doing a little rare Dynamite talk because it was a fantastic show.
Little fuse lighting.
Well, we're going to light the fuse, so put that flame away for right now because we got other things to talk about before then. Got some news bits for you. First up, Rev Pro announced their upcoming 11th anniversary show on Saturday, August 26th in London. This is
wait. Let me try to guess the building.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something about a cobbler?
Not a cobbler, but
copper.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
It is in the Copper Box Arena.
Cobbler would have tasted better.
Copper Box Arena is the same arena that the Royal Quest 1 took place, and if I recall,
I like that.
If I recall correctly, it's the same arena where like the NXT tournament. Remember the NXT UK tournament?
Oh, that's a good building.
Finished. Yeah, it's that beautiful.
Yeah,
it's not really a box; it's a circle. More of a circle than a box.
Yeah, it was definitely not a. It was a thing. Yeah, no, it's a thing.
But they announced that show. It is the Saturday, August 26th, which I believe is the day before All In in Wembley Stadium.
As I was told by one of the Brit Rest fellas that I talked to, and when I say Brit Rest fellas, I mean they just live there and watch British wrestling.
Of course.
This is going to be the card's going to be so good that it's going to be the equivalent of like Super Card of Honor prior to WrestleMania.
I think that is totally accurate. They have already hyped it up as their biggest show ever, and they've already announced...
the first match tells me we're on a pretty good pace.
First match announced: Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi. So,
hey, Tony Khan, listen to me, buddy. If you have Shingo Takagi in town and you don't put him on All In, we're gonna have a fight. Just want you to know that.
We did get confirmation that Will Ospreay will be at All In, so and Shingo's in the area that weekend. So
did anyone really not expect Ospreay to be on that show? Like he is the biggest British wrestling star in the world today.
Correct. Sorry, Pac, but legitimately it is Will Ospreay.
I mean, Pac's not around enough to.
Where is Pac right now? Is he injured?
He broke his nose. Remember, people forget that he did break his nose. He had a mask on his face for about like 3 months, so maybe he's just resting and. Also doing the thing he usually does where he goes home for like 3 months and then comes back for 3 months and then goes home for 3 months and you get the
point. But yeah, no, I'm super excited for this. I thought I've been loving Rev Pro a lot lately, and I think
call him Brit Rest Ryan.
Well, hold on. I don't think Brit Rest has recovered to a point where that nickname is a good nickname.
I think we can call it now.
No.
You can't spell Ryan without Brit Rest.
I've been loving Rev Pro a lot lately. They've been doing some really good stuff, and I'm super excited about the show. The moment it got announced as the Copper Box, I got super excited.
Huge Dan Maloney guy over here.
Big Drilla fan. Dan Maloney guy over here. Yeah, no, and I think it should be good. I mean, they have a good roster under their belt. Obviously, they have AEW connections and New Japan connections. As we saw with Ospreay versus Shingo getting announced, I wouldn't be surprised if there are AEW wrestlers are on the show. Pac has wrestled in Rev Pro before, so if Pac ever returns, I'm sure that he would probably work this show as well. I think that's a high probability. And yeah, and I just think this is going to be, like you said, a Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor sort of gimmick around the WrestleMania that is All In, and I think that is exactly what Rev Pro should be doing. And they know right now, roughly, arguably 70,000 wrestling fans are coming into the town to watch the show. So why not a night before go to the Copper Box, sell as many tickets as you can? Why not? I don't know how much. What is this capacity for Copper Box? Let me look that up.
It's like 6,000 or something.
Capacity.
You know what's interesting?
What's that?
That I thought about? The relationships AEW has decided upon for their
6,000 to 7,000. But yes, go
on. Okay, I said 6. Well, close enough. Is that they've picked some interesting indies to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
They obviously work with Defy. That's kind of their top working relationship, I think, here in the US. So you get Defy, Warrior Wrestling, a little bit of Deadlock Pro,
GCW,
based off Emi Sakura. GCW, I don't think they work with anymore. I think they're mostly cut all ties with them for the most part.
Right.
They also work with, what's the other one? Prestige. They work with a lot with Prestige as well.
Mm-hmm.
But my whole point is, and now in the UK, they obviously work with Rev Pro, but I've noticed they work with Progress too, which is interesting. Now that Progress obviously is no longer under a WWE banner. Actually, they were working with Progress a little bit when they were under the WWE banner. But I just always find it interesting to see like what relationships they find in terms of the independent scene, because more often than not, those are the independents that people tend to like a bit more. And I think that's part of the reason, right, is that we're getting decent wrestlers. But we're getting Shingo versus Will Ospreay at whatever the hell the show was, the anniversary show. Is that what this is?
Yes, the 11th anniversary for Rev Pro.
Well, here's my gauntlet to you fellas at Rev Pro. Make sure your streaming's good, you bastards. Make sure you sound the ring well. Make sure the commentary is not breaking my ears when I'm listening to it, and we'll be fine.
Not only that, but
you hear me?
Do a proper live stream and not have the show happen and then a week later it comes out.
That'd be bad. I think they did a live stream for one of their more recent big shows, the Revolution Rumble. I think they did that live. Because I remember watching that like within a day.
Okay, that's good. Because they need to have that. They 100% need to have like they cannot.
It's necessary.
They cannot. We cannot. I cannot wait a week. I can't watch old wrestling.
You easily could.
I could.
You watch cold wrestling all the time.
That is true. I watched a bunch of matches from the 90s this week.
couldn't be colder if they tried.
Well, if it could have been colder if it was the 80s.
Well, at that point, why even watch it?
I wish I had a rim shot sound cue right there. Boom, tish. Next topic. AEW Warner Brothers Discovery are officially going to announce the new TV rights deal next Wednesday. This is according to the Wrestling Observer. The news will be revealed at Warner Brothers Discovery's Upfront event this upcoming Wednesday. Meltzer said that both the deal and the much-discussed AEW Collision show will be announced there. And yeah, so we'll get that information, and probably, assuming they Tony Khan counts how much money they're making, which I don't see any reason why they wouldn't do that. We'll find out whatever the actual dollar amount is for this deal. The proposed number going around right now is $1 billion for 5 years. That would include obviously Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, exclusive rights. So maybe Dark Elevation could happen again, but it would just be exclusive to Warner Brothers Discovery stuff. Maybe it's a TV show for them. Maybe it's something going on Max, which I'm sure we'll hear a shit ton about at Warner Brothers
Yeah,
Discovery.
they're going to Max in some form.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear a shit ton about Max at the upfronts. But yes, and then the other probable thing is all AEW content going to Max, and looking like the pay-per-views could also be going to Max. That is the leading rumor. Scotty, what do you feel? How do you think about this leading rumor and this new TV deal that has seemingly been signed and will be announced this Wednesday?
Well, obviously the $1 billion number is exciting. Because this company, despite its up and downs, despite, what you may read online on social media that this company's dying and this company's gone, and this company's done, they're doing just fine. Even when they're not at their hottest, they still feel like they're doing something, and I think that's important. And now they're getting repaid for what has been overall a fantastic first 4 years as a company. Like if you look at what AEW has done, they have changed the landscape of wrestling for the better. There was a time where you only had WWE here in the US, and listen, I don't think I'm sitting here every week talking about wrestling if AEW is not existent, just because you can only talk about WWE so much, and everyone does it, right? Like, there needed to be another thing to challenge them, and what AEW has done is challenged WWE to be better. And overall, over the past year or so, they've been much better than they were, say, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? Competition creates cash, and without each other, neither of them are as good as they are right now. And it's interesting to me, and we'll talk about this when we get into Dynamite. And maybe this is the perfect segue. AEW can have a great show on a weekly basis if they want to. It's just the truth. It's just a matter of if they want to, and also not wasting everything you have in the tank either. I think that's something that people need to remember. But what AEW has done is get themselves a contract that locks them in for the foreseeable future and allows them to try new things, right? A new second A type TV show in terms of Collision. It's going to be their biggest challenge yet. It's not something that we could just sit here and say, "Oh yeah, it'll be a success just like Dynamite." We don't know. We don't know, and I think everyone's got to realize that show is being made with the idea that one person will be on that show and backing it per Warner Media. This isn't it needs CM Punk, that show. And they are getting that show in a pay-per-view slot, essentially, each and every week. I think that's something that we'll talk about more next week when it's officially announced and, we have official times and dates. But it's all exciting. It's all exciting for AEW. It's a absolute blow-away accomplishment to do in 4 years. Pro wrestling is hotter than it had been. Yeah, you'll go by, if you go by television ratings, television, no one watches TV anymore. Just get used to it. Okay? Okay? I know a lot of people who watch AEW on Fight or on, I'm sure, websites. You find it because you don't watch it live or you don't have the TV channel that has it, right? Like, people just watch wrestling in different ways. But wrestling is hot right now. You don't pay AEW $1 billion if it's not hot. Okay? We're not just giving money away, especially Warner Media. That should tell you all you need to know.
I've 100% talked about it before. Warner Media does not have money. The fact that they're willing to give away $1 billion is huge.
Obviously, it's 200,000 a year, but
yeah, but it would be allegedly huge for them.
allegedly, nice.
Well, it hasn't been officially confirmed, so I'll say allegedly.
As I will say, because right, there's numbers and confusion going out there,
Sure.
right? That's like, oh, maybe it's a lot less. Tony Khan's not hyping it up on Dynamite if it's anything less than like
I'm
$1 billion.
glad you brought that up, Scotty, because you and I are are huge on. You have to realize the differences in Tony Khan's announcements, and I make a joke about it all the time on Twitter. The huge announcement, big announcement, like whenever it's hyped, what the kind of announcement's going to be. That is what you should really, the biggest one at a time was the Ring of Honor purchasing, and that was Tony Khan will make a live announcement in the middle of the ring, and that was like, oh shit, this is something huge.
Yeah.
This time, Tony Khan announced his announcement. That's the biggest thing we've gotten yet. Tony Khan announces an announcement in person.
This mother trucker.
He's excited. He's got the island. He's ready for it. But yeah, but Warner Brothers doesn't have any money. Brandon Thurston like kind of laid it out that sort of like the money that they would probably get, like napkin math, and I think just doing numbers on like Dynamite and stuff. He sort of said that like Dynamite and Collision potentially, if it get like a 0.15 or whatever, would roughly be like 800,000, right? And then you got a couple more for Rampage, a couple more for pay-per-views or whatnot. So it's like so it's going to be comparable to what they should be making. But that's also huge. Is that they're not going to get blown away things, but a comparable thing to what they should be making is 4 times of what they are currently making.
People, they started their original deal to get on TV was, hey, we'll pay for like your set.
Yes.
And you pretty much do everything else.
And then they got if you get anything over 500K viewers, that's what you get to keep. We get to keep the rest.
And then they got an extension, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the extension, we never really got the full details of that, but obviously it was good enough.
Yeah.
And Tony has stayed true to Warner Media. Whether you think he should have shopped maybe Ring of Honor and other things to elsewhere or not, you can have that opinion. But staying true to Warner Media is reportedly paying off for him. And I think that's, you want to shop places, and I'm sure he has. I'm sure, Tony Khan wasn't just like, I'm not gonna talk to anyone else when my contract for my TV show is about to go up.
Yeah. It would be incredibly foolish business decision to do that.
Right. Being true and working with them as closely as he done, right? Doing sponsorship matches and stuff like that. It's paid off.
Speaking of paying it off, and I'm glad you brought up Ring of Honor, do you think it was a regretful decision to make Ring of Honor its own separate brand and not include it as part of the AEW package? And not rebrand it as AEW Honor or something? At this point, because AEW is getting all the stuff, Ring of Honor as a separate entity is living on Honor Club. You know what I mean?
Don't think so. And I think it's because, we don't know what Tony Khan spent for Ring of Honor. It seems it might be a lot less than maybe you would have thought about 5 years ago for Ring of Honor.
Sure.
Say the 15,000 are still subscribing to Honor Club. That was reported while back. After a while, that money will make it like that money will make up for in the end. And I think it's better that AEW just stays its own thing, right? You have Collision rather than AEW presents Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
The reason he paid for Ring of Honor, let's just be real. He wanted All In. 1, he wanted All In. He wanted the archives. 2. And I think you could eventually you can turn that into the max deal. Like, I know he bought it himself and not with AEW, but he can make it part of it anytime he wants.
True.
And he's trying something, and I appreciate him trying something. Now with Dark gone, and you and me talked about this a few weeks ago, Ring of Honor can have its own purpose now. right? It's going to have
Hopefully.
the indie folks. It's going to have things like that. I mean, they're giving us Kyle Fletcher singles matches. I'm not complaining here.
Mhm.
They're doing different things now that it gives him a different brand to do that in a Ring of Honor brand that people still love. So I think it's fine. I'm sure the pay-per-views are doing really good numbers, right? In terms of, well, we know that. We know they're making record-breaking numbers for the Ring of Honor brand.
Yeah.
So I think overall it was a good decision because now you have your own other TV show. You still have Ring of Honor. You have the archives over here. There's still interest in Ring of Honor. So yeah, I think maybe on the surface, maybe you would think there'd be some regret, but I think Tony made the right choice.
I don't want to bury this topic to death too much or over talk this topic too much because obviously
because we'll be back next week.
We'll be back next week talking about it again. So we'll move on to the next bit. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what comes up Wednesday with this sort of Warner Brothers Discovery deal. And
I want Collision shows to start being announced.
Or at least, you mean like tickets wise, or what do you mean?
Yeah, don't they only have one event announced?
I think they had a second
AEW Sunday event, which also doesn't have an arena yet.
I think they've announced 2.
Well, they haven't announced the United Center one.
Oh no, they technically have not,
and that's kind of the most important one because that's the first one.
That is true.
Not that I think it'll be too difficult to get people in that building.
They're already teasing things about the second coming of Christ, apparently. So it'll be it's gonna be worth it. AEW Dynamite. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite. I thought this was a fantastic show, top to bottom.
What a freakazoid! I'm just kidding. No, it's a fantastic show.
My freakazoid is showing out. I thought this was a fantastic show, top to bottom. I thought that this had the excitement factor of old AEW programming. Just every segment, every match, I was like, yes, go, yes, this is awesome, fantastic, good. Practically every single segment, maybe not every single segment, every single match, but for the most part, the entire 2 hours, instead of one thing being pretty great and everything else kind of being mid, there was like a lot of great and then maybe like one or two things. And at that point, you can ignore those small little bits and enjoy the rest of it and have a fun 2 hour time. If we get more shows like this, that's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I want. So I'm loving it.
The reason I think this show is so good, besides, good wrestling and stuff like that, is that it was paced well. Anytime AEW's had like 7 things scheduled for their shows,
yes,
sometimes it's just like horribly paced that even if it's good, you almost miss something, right? This felt like everything got its own chance to breathe. We weren't going from here, there, and everywhere like within seconds, right? We weren't going to Tony Schiavone in the back 7 different ways and none of it making sense.
Yeah.
They treated it like a full-on nearly, and nothing's perfect, but like in terms of what AEW once was, this was as close to as you were going to get in that 2021 range, I think. Right? 2021 was obviously maybe their hottest year ever. Oh, not maybe, it was factually.
Yeah.
Factually. But you had a great opener, right? That got right into the business of it all, right? You didn't do the entrances. I think that's a special Dynamite thing, or AEW thing, I should say, that I always have liked because it gives you the idea that, all right, we're kicking this off hard. And shockingly, Ring of Honor champions were able to be on AEW, and no one got hurt. It didn't hurt anyone. I know, I'm stunned.
Yes. I'm glad you brought up the first match as well, because the hot start gimmick of AEW when doing all these matches, on SmackDown they started off with that triple threat match.
I know,
and I saw people describing it as like they did the classic AEW hot start of a show.
Yeah, they did they literally aired AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio's entrances online. And I was like, if you're gonna take anything from AEW, that's one of the things to take because it just gives it a better feel instantly.
Yes.
I think so, at least. Like, yeah, you like to see entrances sometimes, but like for a match like this with Ray Phoenix and Claudio,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need entrances. I just want to see them go, right?
Yes.
And it was really good that way.
And go at minute
Um,
1, especially for like WWE. That's
yeah,
3. That would be 3 entrances that would take up like the first 5 minutes of your show.
exactly, exactly. And I thought this and the crowd was hot. This is a very important part of AEW because they don't use the fake crowd noise or anything. They used to. They don't anymore. Thank God. They need hot crowds for their product to feel this great. Everything meshed on Wednesday night. The crowd was hot. The matches were hot.
Yeah.
The angles were hot. Let's talk about it now.
First match, we already sort of talked about it. Claudio Castagnoli defeats Ray Phoenix in a double Jeopardy match. With this win, it means that Castagnoli will get a Ring of Honor tag team title match with a partner of his choosing. That date and time of that match has not been determined or who he would be teaming with.
The partner of his Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah, I assume it would be Wheeler Yuta, but we have not been confirmed, I guess. But I thought this match was really good. I thought this was fantastic.
One critique.
It was for me. It was exactly this sort of idea of the clashing of styles that I really like between the lucha stylings of one Ray Phoenix and the, I don't know, powerhouse stylings, I guess, of Claudio Castagnoli. I thought it played really well into each other, and I really enjoyed it. What was your one critique?
Match itself was really good. The one critique is I would have had that match ready to be announced for Ring of Honor, like for some sort of Ring of Honor.
The tag team.
Yeah, because I would have been like, oh, here, you can go check it out. That's like the one thing AEW does oddly is like promote their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like you watch Ring of Honor and you'll watch Forbidden Door get promoted like 7 different times, right?
Yes.
And then I'll watch AEW and I don't hear about Forbidden Door once. And I'm like, do they know this is their pay-per-view?
Yeah.
They should have. I understand like the whole idea is maybe Claudio didn't have it, but like just get on a mic for 2 seconds and be like, we'll face you here, there, anywhere. Just because I think part of what Tony's doing with Ring of Honor, you kind of want to hype up. Listen, they're both owned by Tony Khan at the end of the day, right? So like if Ring of Honor can promote AEW every single week, then I think you could have promoted Ring of Honor for 2 seconds here. That being said, it's fine. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Match was a lot of fun. If you had some sort of luchador start off every AEW, I don't think anyone would complain.
I completely agree. I also feel like I think it would have been a cool idea maybe to have this on proper Ring of Honor, because I feel like this is a hype enough match to you want to bring eyes to Ring of Honor. But at the same time, I think that was also the idea here of, well, let's advertise to nearly 1 million people, 800,000, 900,000 people, and try to get more subscriptions to Honor Club. To that point, though, I think the next step of that is you do that, and then immediately afterwards have Claudio say, or in a promo later in the show, say, all right, this is the match happening on Honor Club. Me and Wheeler Yuta versus the Lucha Brothers for the tag titles. I think you're right in saying that next step should have happened, and that would have possibly gotten even more people into getting into Honor Club that haven't gotten it already.
That being said, Ray Phoenix, he might still be the best at this whole lucha thing. Like listen, Vikingo's great, obviously. Like I know he's like the talk of the town these days,
and he's doing next level stuff that no one's been.
Yeah, really but Vikingo still has like an exact match to follow, like exact game script.
Yep.
Phoenix just does shit, man, and it all looks great, and it's all nonstop. He's just fantastic. I love Phoenix. It's him, Bandito, and Vikingo. Those are your big 3. Along with like the folks in CML like CMLL like Mystico and Soberano Jr. Those might be my top 5 favorites these days in terms of lucha.
I totally agree. I think that, like I said,
Mystico does the same shit every match, by the way, but it's great every time
because it's Mystico. At the end of the day, it's Mystico. Great match. I thought that I went 3 3/4. I was almost there. Forget what it was that really got me not fully there,
Was
but
it that Ray Phoenix missing the kick on Claudio?
probably, probably.
Because I was like,
Damn. But I thought it was very,
I
very
mean,
good.
it's hard for you to like. That's the one thing with Ray Phoenix. He's going so fast. It's like I'm shocked he doesn't miss things more.
Agreed. And that's why he's so good.
I say I forget who I talked to, but someone made this great thing. Like he's the closest to Rey Mysterio in terms of like just an overall baby face.
Sure.
Like Vikingo is in terms of like kind of changing the way we see things, like Rey Mysterio did.
Mhm.
But in terms of just being Rey Mysterio, Ray
Yeah.
Phoenix does feel like that.
He has that king-esque energy that Rey Mysterio has. Backstage, we cut backstage to a pair of legs. We pan upwards, and we see Miro returning in AEW.
Stephanie McMahon. Oh,
Stephanie. God. Miro is in AEW again. Renee Paquette tries to get an answer for him about why he's here. He just ignores her and walks straight into Tony Khan's office. So Miro is back.
Who gives a shit? That's my take with Miro every time this guy shows up. Oh, the pouty child's back. Great. He wouldn't do the work and said no to plans, and he hasn't been on TV since. Okay. If this guy gets a title within like the next 3 months, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like this guy pouted and complained at home and got a belt. Yeah, fuck off. That being said, he does add something. I just hope it's like decent.
Yeah. I'm excited for Miro. I like Miro. I agree that he has the pouty child energy, but
he's just not worth it to me.
No, but I like this idea that we're setting up with the Tony Khan meetings that he's been having about all these pouty children.
We're bringing all the troubled children home.
Yeah, they're all going to the principal's office.
And getting their own TV show.
Yeah, I think they'll go to the principal's office and being awarded with a TV show of their own. I also like it as this idea of, because later in the show you get Thunder Rosa showing up again and also doing the same thing of going to TK's office. And I think also everyone just sort of assumed that this is how we're going to get the CM Punk reveal, is going to TK's office or coming out of TK's office or something.
Not a chance in hell.
I think it'd be hilarious. I think you do the Goldberg thing where he walks out of TK's office and he's surrounded by security guards and then he enters the ring. That's what you should do.
And he brings Larry with him.
Yeah, he brings Ace Steel with him. No, I think that I like this idea that they're setting up people that may have issues of other people in the back, and that this is sort of like the roster split. We all knew it was going to be CM Punk and the Elite will be part of this roster split, but now it looks like it's Miro and others, I guess. And then like Thunder Rosa and Britt, supposedly. So it seems like, we're getting more and more of like who is part of this roster split. Yeah, they're playing into it a little
bit. And they did kind of, when they said, let's see what Tony Khan has to say, about all the people coming into his office. And they very much hinted at this having to do with Collision, like on the show, which I thought was cool. Like they didn't hide that. It's interesting. Andrade's next, right?
Andrade's got to show up. CM Punk obviously has to show up. Who else are we waiting on? Who else are we looking for?
That's it in terms of the troubled children.
Malachi Black's already here.
He's not as troubled of his child, I guess. He came back quickly.
No. He's more of a troubled child. He's not a trouble child. There is a difference. The D is the difference. Hey, now. Next up, sort of a segment here was FTR comes to the ring. They were invited. Instead, they see Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh. They demand an answer to their Double or Nothing challenge from last week. FTR accepts. And more stuff happens, and basically comes down to that the title match is happening at Double or Nothing between Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and FTR. And then Mark Briscoe will be the special guest referee of said match. Then the Briscoe passes out some cups for tequila. Sanjay Dutt miss tequila in the eyes of Harwood. I hate reviewing this, I'm realizing, Briscoe is blinded and pile drives or whatever hardwood pile. You know the segment
People
happened.
do this on a weekly basis. But
I can't. I'm not a recapper like that.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
I got bored. I got more and more bored as I was saying that.
Listen, if you're listening to this, you watch the show.
I did not like.
We
don't
recap like that.
I don't
like segment at all.
Yeah, I didn't care for this.
All right,
Renee's backstage with Chris Jericho.
We skipped through it, but I loved the videos they did for the pillars.
Yes. They did do 4 different videos. And
Guevara's babyface again.
And let's rank them now. Darby Allin's I liked a lot. Santa Guevara's was really good. MJF's was good. Next segment.
Okay. I don't
think it was bad.
I
don't think the Jungle Boy one was bad. I just think it was the least effective one.
You know what's I watched this and I was like, okay, so Sammy Guevara is a baby face if you watch this for the first time.
Yep.
Jungle Boy's kind of
tweener-esque.
Yeah. I think we're on our way to maybe a change up for Jungle Boy somewhere here down the line, because obviously he's not winning a title anytime soon, or at least this title.
Ever, I don't think. I don't think you should ever win this title.
Well, we know that I literally got you a shirt that says Jungle Boy Hater. Yeah. Anyways, I didn't get you a shirt that said Jungle Boy Hater.
I'm still waiting on it in the mail.
Oh, okay. No, but I think he's on his way to a necessary change up.
Yes, I hope.
A lot of people don't like Jungle Boy right now. Like a lot of people. It's not just a Ryan thing. Like a lot of people I think are kind of out on Jungle Boy at the moment. Because listen, what Jungle Boy does well is he wrestles well. He's a good in-ring wrestler. But guess what? There's a lot of good in-ring wrestlers in AEW.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I know the Fatal 4-Way is going to be good, because they're good.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I have to be excited for the actual wrestlers themselves, though.
Yeah. You and I have never been like against the match itself, because the match is going to be fantastic. You know, like it's just like everyone in this company, for the most part, is a great wrestler, right? The separation between the divisions ultimately comes down to how good of a promo you are.
Yeah.
And now I do think a 4-pillar storyline could be interesting on paper. Obviously, everyone thought that. In practice, at this point in time,
were real pillars.
True. I think at this point in time, the 4 pillars storyline doesn't work, because one of them only knows how to cut babyface promos despite being a heel. Another one is
good ones, by the way.
Yeah,
good babyface promo. Sammy's good at a babyface promo.
One of them has only been really cutting promos for 3 years. And the other one is half.
I don't even know which one you meant.
Jungle Boy. He's only been cutting promos.
Darby's only been doing the same for 3 years too.
That's true. But Darby at least feels, Darby understands how to like tie into like more of the personal stuff, and he doesn't feel, except for that one, he doesn't feel all that disingenuous.
I'm hit or miss on some Darby promos, but listen, he's hit more than Jungle Boy, so that by default does a lot. And
Agreed.
He's the second biggest star of the 4.
Agreed.
So that helps his case too, right? This does feel like it's like MJF and Darby. You could have built a match around those two for this pay-per-view. I don't think anyone would have batted an eye. It's the Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy aspects that it's like they're not ready.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of them will ever be world champion. I won't say ever, but like, and I think Jungle Boy has a better shot than Sammy Guevara does. I don't know if anyone could possibly watch Sammy Guevara and say that's a world champion. And listen, at the end of the day, not everyone needs to be world champion. We've had this conversation before. Not everyone needs to be world champion, and that's okay.
I think a babyface Sammy Guevara could be world champion. That's but a heel one can't. Does that make sense?
No, a heel one can't be champion, let alone a world champion.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I mean, obviously time could change, but let's just say right now, with all the young talent they have, these two would not be my top choice
Yeah.
in terms of being world champion.
Speaking of young talent, we get a quick backstage segment between Chris Jericho and Roderick Strong, and basically Roderick Strong lays down a challenge to Chris Jericho for a Falls Count Anywhere match next
but
week.
all right.
What's that?
You said speaking of young talent, and we went to Chris Jericho and Roddy.
I had to do a transition, didn't I? It didn't work, but I nailed the transition.
Sure.
After that, we get that clip of Thunder Rosa going to the back office as well. Then we come back from commercial.
Thunder Rosa existed.
What did you real quickly about this? What did you think about this? This entire segment, video package with Moxley and Omega feud, FTR in-ring segment, Chris Jericho, Roderick Strong backstage segment, Thunder Rosa showing up. That is one block of TV time, well, no matches.
This does give to what I said, though, is that everything got time to breathe. Whether I like the segments or not is another question. Mm-hmm. But everything got time to breathe. A lot of time without wrestling, though. I did not realize it took that long to get to Garcia and Cassidy.
Yeah, well, next up, we come back from commercial, Sam Guevara video package. Then we have Tony Khan talking about next week's or tonight's being a strong Dynamite. And then finally, we get Orange Cassidy defeating Daniel Garcia to retain the AEW International title. What do you think about this match?
I just want Orange Cassidy to lose this belt.
Interesting.
I thought the match is good. The match is good. Mm-hmm. But, like, when this reign is over, I'm going to remember maybe 2 defenses.
Really?
Yeah.
But not because it's bad, but because it's just...
I don't think it's all that special of a reign.
Interesting.
I am not someone who really likes Orange Cassidy all that much. I think he's fine. Mm-hmm. He's a fine wrestler. Good wrestler. But, like... I think maybe this was like the highest rated match I've maybe given him since. Couldn't even tell you. I sit here and I can't even give you an idea. What I will give him credit for, though, is he's been the true mid-card champion that they need.
Yes.
That's important, right? While the TNT title continues to be a joke in a lot of ways. So that I give him credit for. I just think, like, this reign would have made more sense for, like, Darby. Darby pretty much did the speed run of this, right? Or of it with the TNT title. Yes. He had it for a month, wrestled every week, got beat up really quick, and then he lost it. Mm-hmm. Over time, the problem with the Orange Cassidy one is there's been a lot of just filler title defenses.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, and listen, over 20 defenses, you have no choice, but half of them happened on Rampage at one point. Did you watch those, Ryan? Did you watch the Rampage ones? No, he didn't watch the Rampage ones.
No, I might have.
I was at a show where he defended the title on Rampage. I didn't see it because I left. Because I said, all right, I'm done.
I've seen all the Rampage ones. I just haven't seen last night's. Yes. Rampage one. No, there wasn't one on Rampage.
Big Rampage guy over here.
I'm a big Rampage head.
Yeah. I just think it's been fine. 214 days out of all these defenses that I'm reading right now. I remember 1, 2.
What are the names for these defenses?
Katsuyori Shibata.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Wheeler Yuta.
That was also a good one.
The last Buddy Matthews one.
Sure. Big Matt.
Gabriel Kidd, because that was on a non-AEW show.
Yeah, that was on New Japan, yeah.
Yeah. And then Bandino and Daniel Garcia. But since he won the title from Pac, forgot he won the title from Pac. Thank you for asking. He has defeated Roosh and Ten, Luchasaurus and Ray Phoenix, Shibata, Lee Johnson, Jake Hager, QT Marshall, Trent Seven.
I don't even remember the Lee Johnson one.
Yeah, that was the one in Boston that I left.
Trent Seven? Hold on, what?
Trent Seven.
I don't remember that one at all.
Trent Beretta.
Sure.
Actually, that was decent. That was fine.
Yeah.
I like Trent. Kip Sabian.
I do remember that
Are,
storyline.
are people looking into my eyes when I'm talking to you? Can you see how unexcited I am? Jay Lethal.
That one, actually, it was. If I recall correctly, that one was pretty good.
It was 9 minutes. Lee Moriarty.
One of the reasons why it's so good.
Well, you was good.
Yeah.
Big Bill.
I mean,
Jay Lethal again.
you can't dunk on Big Bill.
Jeff Jarrett. The Butcher. Berlistico. Buddy Matthews. Gabriel Kidd. Bandito. Daniel Garcia.
But here's the thing as well. If I went through and looked at all my Orange Cassidy match ratings and whatnot, I would argue probably that a lot of those matches were at minimum good and at best really, really good. I wouldn't know if any of them were great. Maybe there was a couple greats in there.
I'm going through every single one of them right now.
I don't recall.
The Jeff Jarrett one I gave 1 star.
Wow. Big. He hates Jeff Jarrett, folks. He is not part of the Wii U clan.
The highest rated Orange Cassidy match, he got a 3 3/4 for me.
I think,
and that might have been this one.
What I'm getting to
this one.
is I probably do like a 50-50 agree with you, is that I think a lot of these matches were good to great, but a lot of them were the same. You know, I'm slightly bored by it being like this, like perfectly good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing like, we're not getting to like,
fine.
It's a thing of like, I'll get this one when I get to my best of Super Juniors takes. When I've seen a billion matches, when I've seen a billion really good matches, they start getting diminishing returns. Yeah. If you have a billion great matches, you start getting slight diminishing returns, but they're still great and it lasts longer. A bunch of really good matches, I get bored faster from that. If that makes it weirdly, if that makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you mean. It was only up until recently that I started to get back into it, and it's because he's doing an actual angle. Mm-hmm. Of like he's getting too hurt, right? I think that's more interesting.
Yeah.
For the first, I don't know, I just read off a lot of defenses. For the first 15 of those, there wasn't that angle. It just wasn't. Like I was like, what happened to the first 15 matches that he wrestled? Did he not get hurt in those? And now he's beating people that I actually want to see win. So now I'm just getting annoyed. Who beats this guy? I don't know. Who should beat this guy? Someone like Swerve should beat this guy. Like Swerve
deserves better.
He deserves so much better. This guy's like one of the no, I'm not doing the Swerve talk right now.
I fear that it's gonna be like, I don't know,
Miro. I have great fear it's gonna be Miro.
I think it could be Miro. I think you're right. I think it could be Miro. That would make sense.
That would stink.
I was gonna say Malachi Black.
I could have saw that.
In one point in time, I would have said Malachi Black, but now that we're doing the open house rules gimmick with them, I don't necessarily know.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about it too.
Miro makes sense though. That or Andrade, but probably Miro more.
Andrade. They probably should have one of each mid-card title on each show, huh? That makes sense.
That would also make sense. Anyways, we got the in-ring segment with Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, where Christian Cage
hates dads or doesn't hate dads or something like that.
Continues to hate father figures and stuff, and hates Arn Anderson for being
Christian Cage should beat Wardlow. There's my take.
I agree. Actually, Wardlow is
gonna pick everyone against Wardlow.
Wardlow is boring. And we
I was hoping we get the stinky poo poo thing.
I think, did we talk about this off air about my thoughts on like
we've talked a lot over the past week of recording,
we
so
recorded
it's all
a lot of
meshing
episodes
together.
For people that are considering joining the Patreon, we got a bunch of new episodes. Ryan hasn't seen anything coming out soon.
Shout out Danny Crawford, baby.
I can't wait for that episode to come out. But we got a bunch of episodes of that, so I don't remember exactly what I said on mic this week versus not on mic. But I had a thought at one point in time about AEW like properly building stars and like the
Yeah.
moment they jump on somebody, like you all felt like it's going to be Wardlow, and then it's like it's not really Wardlow.
That might have been text.
It might have been text. I don't remember. I don't remember what.
That's the problem. We don't have any idea.
Because
But
it's like when they do something, it doesn't necessarily
yeah,
work.
I remember
Like
this conversation.
Wardlow didn't really work. Jamie Hayter, we all thought she was going to turn on Britt. Now she's kind of with Britt, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad, like Wardlow bad, but I think it's
Right.
fine. Hobbs, we turn him and make him important. Then he
Nerd.
pair him up with QTV. I don't know what it is.
Not
It's just
being
something
nerd.
about it. Like they get to that next step, and it's like, okay.
A swing and a miss.
Yeah, and so I have concerns about that. But anyways, Christian Cage, yeah, I can agree with that. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, Kyle Fletcher should beat him. Kyle Fletcher's the next up, but he's
That-
not going to beat him.
That
I did have a pitch though.
Mhm.
Could Will Ospreay be the guy beating him?
If you did that at like Forbidden Door again?
No, before.
Oh, I mean, maybe.
Because you would run back the rematch, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have this Kyle Fletcher thing setting up, and then at Forbidden Door,
Mm-hmm.
it's international title and U.S. title.
Mm.
They both have the other company's title.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be intriguing.
What about instead we put the title on Mark Davis? It's real swerve. What if we put the title, international title, on?
Not Fletcher, not Ospreay, Mark Davis.
What if we
I'm
go
pretty
real-
sure is injured.
What if we go real wild with it and say Aaron Hanare?
All right, that's enough.
Julia Hart defeats Anna Jay in a no holds barred match. This was I'll say worst match in the show, but it wasn't like awful in my opinion. It was aggressively fine.
Anna Jay's bad.
Yeah, she's bad.
She's slow. Like she just
She
doesn't
doesn't
feel
sell.
natural
She
there.
doesn't sell. She's slow as hell.
Julia Hart's better than her, and Julia Hart's been wrestling shorter than her. I'm pretty sure.
There was a point in time where I was super high on Anna Jay, and it feels like she's
Yeah,
gotten worse.
I remember ever since that moment, she has gotten worse.
Yeah.
I remember you tweeting that out or saying it on this show.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, she's a prospect when she comes back from injury, and ever since it's been like, woof.
She is getting worse and worse. Every match I see her in is like, this is
She needs to wrestle
Okay.
indies or something.
something. She needs to get more experience somewhere along the way. Because
I'm watching Sky Blue get better, and guess what Sky Blue does? She wrestles indies. She signed AEW, but she wrestles indies.
Mhm.
It's not that hard.
I agree.
Julia Hart's good at character work. She's good. She's better than the entire House of Black at it. It's not really a shot at them. I think she's just good at it.
Well, speaking of House of Black, we get their trios tag match, the open house match, where we got a little bit more verification on the rules. No rope breaks. There are DQs, which is a weird thing to say because most matches already have DQs. So that would seem weird. And like it is every team that they're facing, the House of Black is facing, can choose one additional rule.
Yeah,
Which
this was no Julia Hart at ringside.
Yes,
No witches. to be
no
exact.
spooky witches to be exact. I don't know.
Next person, I want them to say no stupid lights.
I think no stupid lights is a good one. I think only I can get the pinfall.
No, I want to.
It is a title versus career.
I think you perfectly said. I think you perfectly said this on Twitter. How the lights were a good idea in theory and
Yes.
not as executed. And my problem with it isn't necessarily like it's like a spotlight type thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was okay, but you want to see the crowd.
Yes,
You just want to see the crowd react
That's
to
how I
these
felt.
things, especially like these trios matches that can get crazy.
Mhm.
Like I don't want like imagine
or even a
Elite
bandito
versus-
match. A bandito match where I
Well,
see
that's
no
true.
crowd. What are we doing?
This one was one of the more forgettable bandito matches I've seen in a long while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a good match. Like it was a fine match. It was nothing was bad about it.
Yeah.
I just would like not do the lights again.
Yeah, I think the lights.
I have fiend PTSD.
I have like pandemic PTSD still.
Yeah, because it did feel like we were just in an empty arena.
And then we just hear people. I want to see
Yeah.
people. That I want to see people cheering. That's what makes it kind of fun. I want to see people jumping out of their chairs.
Let's do a reverse. Let's light up the crowd and black the ring so we can't see what's
Wow.
happening.
Now we're
end.
talking. Lights out match, but only for the ring itself. And look, I'm happy that they're hiring the Fiend and Mystico's lighting designer. Mystico when he's in WWE as the original Sin Cara. I'm glad we're hiring these lighting designers to come in and pitch ideas for TK, right? I'm
Thank
glad
God.
they're like, hey, you know what we should do? Change the lights in the ring. That's a good idea. People will like that. We'll call it Mountain Dew. We'll do another sponsorship or something. The lights are silly. Let's get out of here. We get the main event. Let's talk about the goddamn main event. Let's just get to it. Let's just freaking get to it. The main event, steel cage match. Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega. This match ruled ass. This was an ass and a half ass and a half and two more asses. This was so good. I don't worry about it. I love this match. It was brutal. It was violent. It was in the center of the ring practically. And we talked about this either on air or Ryan hasn't seen anything.
That's just in the middle of the ring when they go through the damn.
Well, okay, look. But no. For the most part,
I know what you meant.
For the most part, this match takes place. It's not like throwing people into cage constantly or jumping off things.
Yeah, it's not the usual steel cage. I get that.
Yeah, this felt like an old school throwback. It felt eerily reminiscent to me. I'll compare this to the God, what the fuck is his name? I'm forgetting his name. Tully Blanchard, that's what it was, and Magnum TA's steel cage match.
I knew that's exactly what you were going to say, and I've never seen the match in my life.
Steel cage match that also has a chair involved. It felt weirdly reminiscent to me, and it felt like an old school throwback in that sense, with a twist. I really like that. I really like just having it settle in the ring like that. I really, really liked the V-trigger through the cage, despite almost destroying Kenny Omega's leg. I thought that was a fantastic visual. I'm glad that they just kept it in the ring practically. Beyond that, the match was violent. The match was brutal. And I think it was one hell of a swerve to close out the show, to have Don Callis turn on Kenny Omega. I think that was really well done and really well executed. I thought this match was fantastic. I believe I went 4.5 on it. Let me double check.
Tamale.
Yep, I went 4.5 on it. This match was fantastic. I want more of this kind of shit. Just so good. It was just incredible. It was just incredible to watch something this good in AEW. And this was like, I tweeted out that I was like, this is probably the first 4+ star match for AEW that I've rated since Omega Vikingo. And that was, February or something like that? Like, that was forever ago at this point.
It was March.
It was March? Either then. This is May now. This was probably my first 4+ star match since then, and that was, I also gave it 4.5 stars, March 22nd, and this was
22nd.
And this was, of course,
let me see what I could bring to the table here that you did not.
I thought this match was fantastic.
One, far and away the best match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. I don't even think it's a question.
Yes.
Two.
The very first match was good, but I gotta look. I don't remember how good it was.
The one where they did all the plunder stuff.
Lights out match.
The lights out match. Yeah, I didn't like that
one. Ooh.
Anyways, that's a me problem. The greatness of this match comes down to Mr. Kenny Omega. And I tweeted a little thread about this. People probably already have heard enough Kenny Omega from me. this week, but I'm gonna talk about him anyways because I want to. So listen, a lot of my whole thing is obviously women's wrestling, and that's just kind of my that's most of my coverage and stuff. So I don't always talk about unless it's AEW. I don't really fully talk about like my favorite wrestlers on the med side of things. And I was like, every time I watch Kenny, I know he's the answer. And someone asked me this week on a show, who's your favorite two men's wrestlers? Because we all know your favorite women's wrestlers. And I go, Kenny Omega and CM Punk. And it's very funny because obviously, problems. But what Kenny does so well, I don't think anyone else can do. He can wrestle three very different types of matches and all exceed to make them maybe not match of the this wasn't a match of the year contender, but make people even consider that in every facet, right? I said no one's like him in professional wrestling today. Someone responded with me and Shingo. I said Shingo's not doing what Kenny just did in that steel cage. That's not happening. It's not happening. Shingo's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. Love Shingo Takagi, but he's not doing what I just watched Kenny do. Think about this. The three best matches for Kenny this year, I think, are Ospreay, Vikingo, and Moxley. All three of those matches are vastly different. One is the New Japan main event epic style. The second is a lucha
with I'll say a hardcore element, just the visual of smashing Will Ospreay's face through a table.
Of course. It more of a rivalry element, like a deep cut,
deep rivalry, and also like student master element to it.
The second is just a Omega Vikingo lucha infused craziness nonstop type match,
showcase match too. Showcase
yes,
match.
Getting Vikingo over to the world, right? And then there's this one, the brutal, physical,
old school style,
old school steel cage, right? Steel cages for the most part kind of stink, people. Like these days, they kind of usually aren't all that good.
Yeah,
this was great. And I had all the confidence in the world it would be great because that's the type of wrestler Kenny Omega is. He can have any match with any wrestler and live up to that point. I remember there was some dweeb, I don't remember who it was, talking about how Kenny Omega wasn't as good anymore. I remember who it was.
I know you do. I know you do.
a few months ago, they were like, "Oh, this Kenny's not the same." I was like, "This Kenny is just as good as he just changed his style. He's not doing stupid shit every minute of every match, right? He's not jumping from the ring into the crowd onto Tetsuya Naito anymore. Yep. That's the one thing he's not doing. Everything else is absolutely tremendous. Kenny Omega is the absolute best because he does things that no one else can do. He's that good. And it plays to every promotion he's worked for, right? He learned that creativity in DDT. People can say what all they want about DDT. He learned a lot of his creativity in there. Then he went to New Japan to get the biggest push of his life, right? Get the most shine, and he became the best bout machine. And now here in AEW, he's having the run that I think everyone wanted him to have the first time around before the injury, right? Yeah. When he remember 2019, everyone's like, "Oh, this isn't the Kenny. Kenny made the wrong decision." Blah 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 blah. Yeah, this guy was hurt for 2.5 years before he could be Kenny Omega again. Now he's Kenny Omega again. We're watching him go through freaking steel cages and take barbed wire to the back and go through glass. And it feels like he should be doing all that. And that's a credit to Jon Moxley, too. Jon Moxley could do a lot of this stuff, too. Maybe he's not going to do the high-flying lucha stuff with Vikingo, but he can do the lucha brawling stuff with anyone, right? This was fantastic. This was a hell of a main event. This was AEW to its core. That's what this match was.
100% agree. I think it was like Jon Moxley then had like Sports Center, I think it was. ESPN or whatever interview about like, he basically kind of said that it was like the AEW to its core, the AEW flag bearer, people that are like F the world, fuck the world. I censored myself and then just said the word. He's like that's the mentality. He's like, that's the mentality I live with, and that's that's what these people are. AEW at its core is the original AEW concept. At its core is this rivalry, kind of. This is like the AEW rivalry is
Yeah.
Moxley Omega. This was the beginning, the very first world title, quote unquote, angle, right? Is Jericho wins, and then Moxley comes out and beats up Omega, right? Like that is basically like the first big time angle this promotion has ever done. And 4 years later, here we are. Can you believe it, folks? It's Paul Rudd eating hot food, eating hot wings. Can you believe it?
What are that?
What are the odds? Here we are. Who would have thought?
Like, I think it's over, or like, I'm not gonna sit here and say Kenny Omega is underappreciated because I'm not ridiculous.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he almost is.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
it's because he has detractors who are like cornet heads or whatever.
he has detractors or he has super fans. Like, it's the in between that.
Well,
He has like the elite super fans, and
Sure.
then he has the detractors like Cornette and others.
Yeah.
All I want to do is see this guy wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what all he wants to do. That's the thing with Kenny.
Yeah.
That's all he gives a shit about.
Yeah.
We know reportedly he was the one that was over the CM Punk stuff the quickest. He just was like, I want to wrestle, I want to do that, right?
Yeah.
From like, if you think back to every single match he's had since coming back, I'd say every single one of them you should watch. Even the one where, like, the weakest one, in quotations, is like maybe the one where he teamed with Takeshita, and still that was a blast to watch just because it was so much fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, this guy's just I could talk about Kenny Omega forever.
Do you think, and I know
he's the best in the world.
The ticker going across the screen right now is with our top 5 wrestlers. Me with Omega at number 1, you with Omega at number 1.
Yeah.
Maybe it's we both have an idea of where the answer is going, but do you think he is the lead in the wrestler of the year category, or do you think there's someone else that is up there with him? I think he's definitely in the conversation at this point, but is he number 1 in? Is it him and Okada? Okada was great, and then he lost the title, and now he's doing trio stuff, which is still fine, but you know.
But I think Okada in this gimmick deserves a lot of credit. Like, we can all rate our wrestler of the year off like the actual matches themselves.
Sure.
But like the work that Okada's doing overall is really exciting, and he's gonna have a G1 also to back him up.
Yeah,
at the end of the year, right?
Accurate. That is accurate. The G1 hasn't happened yet.
Kenny's not gonna have a G1 to back him up, but Kenny's gonna have the match with Ospreay. Kenny's gonna have this Anarchy in the Arena at Double or Not. Everyone, I'm sure, can figure out it's Anarchy in the Arena by now. Right, they're gonna have that at Double or Nothing, which should be fantastic. Right, last year's was great, and every wrestler in this, to me, this is a better crop of talent.
Sure.
Right,
and more, and I would argue a more, I would say more imaginative bunch.
Right, like, I think it's between Omega and Okada most, and listen, Ospreay it takes 2 matches for him to get back into the discussion.
Yeah.
He just has been out for most of the last 2 months, right?
Yeah.
He has a match with Tanahashi next weekend. I'm sure that'll be very good. Then he's gonna have a match with Lance Archer, which is probably gonna actually kick ass, and I don't think people appreciate that enough. Like, I remember his match with Archer at
in G1 and the
G1
Climax,
the G1.
In Texas.
It was when they were here in the US. It was so good.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna have the match with Kenny.
Again,
and then if he wins the title,
3 Ospreay singles matches coming up.
And then he has a G1.
And then he has a G1.
So, like, yeah, it's those 3, I think, right now. But it's really just it's Kenny. I think it's gonna be Kenny's year to lose. It'll just be how many matches he has.
Yeah.
At this point.
I think if not rest of the year, I think there's a chance he could be. I don't know. I was gonna say like the was it the Luthez one that is overall wrestler?
Is that the Danielson one now? No, that's technical wrestler.
That's technical wrestler. I want to say
Uh,
the overall wrestler of the year with is the Lou Thesz award.
yeah,
I think
I'll look. You
because
can.
he's also
Yeah.
having great storylines. He's having I
Lou
was trying to
Thesz is
think.
the wrestler of the year. So,
Uh,
most outstanding wrestler.
Mass
That's not
outstanding.
a.
That's
It
what it
doesn't
is.
have a special name, but
I think there's a chance he could be the wrestler of the year, of course. But most outstanding, I think there's also a chance he could do that because the storylines he's been in has been great. The stuff he's been doing in it, his promos have been, I think, for the most part, hits. There's been like 2 misses, but the stuff he's been
yeah,
doing
I
is
think he's a good
really good.
promo.
He's just so good, and
Oh, and let's just be honest. He's gonna have matches with Kota Ibushi by year's end. Let's not be stupid here. That's
there's
gonna happen.
a very good shot. Unless this guy's going back to New Japan for some
I,
reason.
w- he probably will. Oh my god! I'm
Biggest
not
eye
talking
roll
about
I've
Kota
ever
Ibushi
seen.
right now, but uh, I'll go off on a tangent.
That's
But
that's a whole nother gripe you and I have. Uh,
fucking wrestle. Anyways,
well, maybe don't wrestle. That Joey Janela match wasn't good.
that's not his fault. Joey Janela stinks. It was a
Let's.
stupid match for him to have in the first place. He also almost killed himself.
That's true. That's true. Let's talk about BOSJ. New Japan Best of Super Juniors 30
Past.
tournament is happening. It has begun with night 1 on Friday, which you can watch for free. Night 2 on Saturday, and night 3 this morning on Sunday. I watched
Based
all
off experience, you only want to watch the free show.
Yeah. So I don't.
Hit the hot take, Ryan. Do
I don't want
do
to.
it off the rip.
Well, I'm setting up. I'm setting up the goddamn second. Give me a second. Give me a second. I watched the first night. I watched the second night, and I watched half of the third night. You said you watched the first night and Did you watch night 2 yet?
No, but I was told it was mostly bad, and I'm watching like 2 matches from it.
So yeah. So and I don't want to go match by match. And
No,
I think part of the reason I don't want to go match by match is also my feeling on the tournament so far. And it's been 2.5 nights for me. So maybe this is unfair. But I think if I'm already starting to get bored on night 3, I'm worried.
to be fair, I heard night 2 was so bad.
Night 2,
because the crowd was fucking dead.
The crowd was dead. It felt like a pandemic show. Night 1, I thought had a lot of fun, interesting ideas.
Here's
there
a
were
quote.
Some pretty good matches.
Someone said they wish they had most clap crowds over the night 2 crowd, and I said, "Oh dear God."
Yeah, that's rough. Night 1 had fun ideas and stuff. Night 2, I was so bored watching this. And to be clear, nothing was technically bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think I gave a 2-star. I think the lowest I went was 2.25. But nothing's technically bad, right? It's just so boring. The highest rating I gave on night 2 is 3 stars.
Woof.
I was like, this was 10 matches of just there. And night 3, halfway through it, feels like it's going to be 10 matches of just there. And on top of that, Scotty, I want you to also frame this in your mind. I am cold on Mike Bailey versus Hiromu.
Wow. Okay. Well, I thought that was really good. I thought that was Mike Bailey's best match in a very long time.
I went 3.5 on that.
Wow.
Match.
Alrighty then.
And I said this take about Orange Cassidy, right? This is gonna be a take hour for you and I about this tournament. I said this about Orange Cassidy, where if I watch too many really good matches, I start getting bored because they're really good, but it's like, all right, I've seen this before.
Sure.
I've hit that with Mike Bailey. I hit that aggressively last Friday, where it is
interesting.
I've seen a bunch of really good matches from Mike Bailey. He has not had a match that has crossed the 4-star threshold for me. I don't think it's hit 4 stars yet for me. And I've seen just really good stuff, and I'm just kind of bored by what Mike Bailey is doing because I've seen it so much now, and that's it.
I mean,
I'm done. I mean, at least Ospreay's changing his style, so it helps that like, oh, okay, in the past couple of years he's changed his style. Mike Bailey, I've seen so much of him that's just the same. I want to see something
Right.
different.
Well, I get that. I mean, remember, I was on the show being the Bailey contrarian during after WrestleMania weekend.
Sure, sure.
So obviously I get that.
Well, you and I both said coming out of WrestleMania weekend that
Yeah.
we were expecting more from his
Yeah, I
journey
mean,
of matches.
he's wrestled a lot, and I've seen him wrestle a lot over the past year and a half now.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought this was his best match since like maybe last WrestleMania weekend.
Well,
Like I said,
hype me up.
I,
What was about this
I
match that was so great?
well, I think I'm more engaged into Hiromu now than you are, so that probably helps. Um,
After I watched this match, I had a feeling that I'm gonna come on here and say I thought this match was really good and that was it. And then you'll be like, "Well, is it like the Yo match where you said it was really good, and then you specifically loved it?" I was like thinking to myself, I was like, "Yeah, Sky will probably love this match just like you love the Yo one." And I was like, "Ah,
yeah,
whatever."
so like I think Hiromu was hitting at a high rate again.
Hmm.
Personally, I'm liking him a lot more now.
Yeah,
I think this match
which is
had a
fair.
great
That's fair.
energy to it.
Yeah.
Cork and Hall was phenomenal for this show.
And I like how
Um,
Hiromu is going back a little bit to
yeah,
the not
yeah,
aggressive, not the word,
right.
manic style of his
Yeah, no,
wrestling.
yeah. That's exactly. And for me, like Speedball, while he has the same moves, because every wrestler has the same moves,
Sure.
I thought one, he didn't sell the goddamn leg, so that was a big win for me. Uh, there was no reason to sell the leg, so that also helped. I just thought like the craziness of running through Cork and Hall and stuff like that. We haven't
Yes.
seen that
Yes, in
in a
Cork and
long
Hall.
time in wrestling, let alone in a Hiromu match or something like that. I think that's something I really love, and that kind of plays to like maybe my Io Shirai fandom. That's like a classic trope of her big matches. She used to do that type of stuff, so I love it a bit. But
Yeah.
the energy about it, I love. Now that being said, I was coming on here with the best of the Super Juniors take as well. Don't you worry, folks.
Yeah.
I'm not completely disagreeing with Ryan here. I liked one match more than he did, but that doesn't mean I'm crazy with this tournament. Here's the problem with the best of Super Juniors.
I know you and I sort of realized this. You and I hyped up the tournament, hyped up the participants.
Yeah.
So it's like, this looks pretty good. And then you and I started looking through the actual schedule.
We
I was
looked
like,
at it
hold on.
this week. We're like, oh.
We looked at it this week. We were like, is this going to be not as good as we all thought?
So the problem with the best of Super Juniors is that everyone wants it to be the G1. They don't have the talent in the best of Super Juniors for it to be the G1. It's just the truth. The last time they did was 2019. And you know why? It had the best parts of the G1 in the best of Super Juniors. Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi.
I'm glad you brought that up, by the way, because I'm seeing people say that the junior roster is stacked. And I was thinking to myself, the last time it felt stacked to me was like 2019-ish when Ospreay and Shingo were in here. And since they have left the junior division, I'm saying, is with Ospreay and Shingo gone and the people that have replaced them, have the people replaced them been better than them? No.
Not even close.
And we're calling that roster stacked and this one also stacked?
This is my full overall take. What they've added to Offset, Will Ospreay,
Offset,
Bandito, Shingo Takagi, Dragon Lee.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Dragon Lee.
Are the same guys who were there then.
Yep. Still.
So Hiromu.
With 4+ years on
Taiji Ishimori.
Yeah.
A better El Desperado. El Desperado might be the only bright spot since then, truthfully. Sure. I think, like in terms of changing since then.
But right now he's not really doing anything.
No, he's not. But last year he was the MVP of the tournament. So I'll give him credit for now since it's still early. And Kushida's back. I guess I'll give you that. But guess what? Kushida was in a million Best of Super Juniors before that. Yeah. So
and it's also post WWE Kushida where it's like,
Right.
Which,
He's
by the way,
still not.
my match of the tournament so far is Kushida versus Doki. That match ruled
That was
ass.
fun.
That
That was
match
fun.
was so good.
That was a lot of fun. I liked
I saw that.
heel Kushida.
I saw that. I was like, give me more of this. Where's that Bullet Club Kushida rumor now? I want more of this shit. This is what I want.
Yeah.
The crowd going
heel
crazy
Kushida
for
was
Doki.
awesome.
The crowd and the Young Lions going crazy for Doki. I was like, give me this stuff. But go on.
And but my point is, right? They haven't made up in star power. They've just had the same stars detracting for the guys that I think everyone most looked forward to when the Best of Super Juniors was announced, right? Osprey, Shingo, and the two Lucha fellows, right? I mean, I miss Dragon Lee so much in these things. I miss and Bandito was phenomenal in them too. My point is, you haven't been able to replace that. You haven't been able to replace the guys that if you put them into the G1, which they did, they would go out there and have some of the best matches in that too. And I think that's an important trait to these tournaments. Listen, Taiji Ishimori, this guy's in fucking he's not working most of the nights. Like he's just like he's going through the motions, calling it a day majority of the time. Ryusuke Taguchi,
look, I'm liking that
he's working this time.
I'm liking that
he's
working. He's putting on the tights, you know. He's
that
working
said,
well.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? You have TJP. This guy's been around for decades now, it feels like. He's not jumping off the screen to me. Bushi's Bushi. Like, I know he's going to be there. Like, to me, the only people standing out so far, and I've only watched one night, but just based off tweets and stuff, is Robbie Eagles, who has a new coat of paint.
Yeah, but he's always been good, so I don't have any issues.
He's always been good, but I think I like a little more aggressive Robbie Eagles like I've seen. So him.
Sure.
Hiromu, who I don't know if everyone knows this, is the reigning champion. So he kind of has no choice.
Kushida.
And Kushida. Oh, I only watched the one match, but Kushida I knew would have a little excitement because obviously he's here, and Clark Connors, who's figuring out himself still, obviously in this new. I think Clark Connors is gonna be really good by the end of this tournament.
Sure,
but Clark Connors is now doing the same thing he had to do last year, which was figure himself out. Right?
Yeah.
He isn't. If he came into this tournament as a babyface, I think he'd have a much better tournament because he had figured himself out last year.
100%.
But now he's got to do it all over again. And I think the heel gimmick is going to be great for him. I do.
Plus,
I like him being.
They're pairing him up with Gato, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's big. That's obviously huge for him.
Yeah,
and I think he's going to be good. And I like the more aggressive thing, and I think he's kind of fits better than David Finlay already. That being said, the problem with the Best of Super Juniors is you're missing star power. At the end of the day, you're missing those.
You got Hiromu in there, and it feels like you're missing star power.
Hiromu's the only star.
Yeah, well, Despy a little bit, but even then,
but like Despy needs to win one of these things to feel like he's a star, and he hasn't. I think Chris Charlton said it really well. Yeah, he's wrestled, Hiromu in the Tokyo Dome. He's been to the finals. He's won the titles, but he hasn't won one.
Yeah,
and I think that is very important. Overall, my main problem with these tournaments moving forward. My other thing. I'm not done. The crowds almost always stink for these unless they're in one of the huge arenas or Quarkin. It's just the truth. At least with the G1, they're rocking. The G1's more prestigious, of course. But, like, to me, it's night and day. Like, the next show that I'm looking forward to for the Best of Super Juniors isn't until May 21st. Do I have an idea what the card is? Nope. But is it in Korakuen Hall, so I know it's going to be good no matter what? Yep. Everything else is in. I know they have to travel around Japan, but like that card is Hiromu and Ishimori, Desperado and Akira, Yo and Kevin Knight, Leo Rush and TJP. All right, not a bad night. And I think you hit it on the head. Like this probably isn't going to be as exciting until the final night. Sure, there'll be a match here and there on each night that might be worth checking out, but the whole shows aren't.
I'm hearing Leo Rush versus Hiromu night 3 was good.
Shocked, stunned, bamboozled. Like, obvious, like Leo Rush, and I'm excited for Leo Rush. Leo Rush feels like one of those guys, right?
Yeah.
I give him like that Dragon Lee.
It's missing an energy.
It is.
Like I don't know if that's where I'm like star power. You got Hiromu, you got Despy, you got all.
I think the blocks were mismade.
It's missing energy, and it's missing a frantic energy.
Also, Dan Maloney guys.
Is that it? You're not a Dan Maloney head?
The vanilla fella.
Oh, wow. The vanilla drilla?
Vanilla drilla. Yeah. I watched like 2 minutes of his match. I was like,
sorry, Dan. Now, to be fair to Dan, it was 2 minutes of a match of Bushi.
I don't know, man.
And night two is match with Yoshinobu Kanemaru. So
Kanemaru's great, and if he can't have a great match, like Kanemaru's good at, but Kanemaru needs the right opponent. I'm guessing Dan Maloney wasn't it.
No. It was worse than the Bushi match. That was a match I gave 2.25 stars to.
You bastard.
It felt like the energy is missing from this tournament, and then all that energy got put into Fantastica Mania, and then they're like, "Oh shit, we don't have enough. We don't have enough."
Well, there's the perfect thing, right? Fantastic Mania was an absolute complete success.
Yeah,
to the point where you hoped you would have more of those wrestlers in this tournament.
At least one more.
Instead, you only got Teton.
I'll take Templario. I'll do it.
Don't get me wrong. I love Teton.
Yeah.
But oh man, this tournament would be a different vibe if you had Soberano Jr. here instead of Dan Maloney.
Another reason I'm pushing back on the roster stacked debate is that people are including Mike Bailey as part of the roster. And
listen, people love Mike Bailey. I get it. I like Mike Bailey. I'm not saying I don't like Mike Bailey. I loved his match with Hiromu. You did it. That's fine. But like I was on this show 3 months ago or 2 months ago after WrestleMania week saying I think I'm done.
Yeah.
And it's only because this match like was elevated from crowd and Hiromu and different opponent for him.
Yeah.
I'm not even planning to watch his night 2 match. It's not even on my docket.
Who was his night 2 match?
Don't know. I think it was Show. So that might be why.
It was Show. It was Show.
And now, like, he has a match with TJP, and I might watch that. And I want to give TJP and Teton some shine. I thought they had a fun little match on night 1. It wasn't like anything exceptional or anything. Sure. It was a fun little match. TJP is a good wrestler.
Yeah.
He just doesn't. He just doesn't. Doesn't give you that Juice Robinson feel. You could figure out what his nickname is and get a laugh out of that if you want.
It feels like this tournament's missing energy, and it already is starting to feel like this is just going to be.
This happened last year.
This feels like it's going to be background noise.
Here's the problem. Here's the final problem, and I think you'll agree with me on this.
Mm-hmm.
Best of the Super Juniors needs outsiders so much more than the G1 does.
Correct. I can agree with that. Because it needs energy.
We went through the G1
it needs energy.
Yeah, like
it needs something new.
In Japan based lineup for the junior division doesn't jump off the scene. Listen,
not anymore.
I think maybe 3 years down the road,
yeah,
it'll be exciting because Clark Connors and Kevin Knight are not
agreed
just out of young lines, because those are your young junior guys now. They don't have any others.
But there are too many of those guys. You know what I mean? Like there's too many of guys that are like figuring it out. Clark Connors, Kevin Knight,
exactly.
Master Wato is farther along, but still figuring it out.
Exactly.
Francisco Akira to a certain extent, even though he's fantastic at 23. He's fantastic at 23, but still to an element, still figuring it out. Not figured out.
They don't have.
Yo feels like he's still figuring it out.
To me, last year's tournament had a better lineup. Plain and simple. You had the likes of El Lindemann, Ace Austin, right? Like kind of guys that you knew were good.
Wheeler Yuta was in there.
Yuta, I mean, I thought Yuta had a kind of. If Yuta went in this year,
I think he did better.
It'd be a lot better.
I agree because
But
it was
it's a good
also, but as he joined BCC and then he
Yeah.
went to the tournament, so it gave him an ability to think it. But it was the same sort of thing of he's figuring something out, and I think you have too many guys figuring something out.
And they're all on the same block.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part. They're all on the same block.
Dan Maloney, new, figuring it out.
Same block. All B block.
Yeah. Which we
And A block is.
I think we hyped it up, but we did say that B block is like a lot of new, fresh faces, and we're like, oh, that could be interesting, and it's turning out to be like, no, it's not really that interesting. It's all kind of figuring things out. Right. Well, do you want updated standings?
Sure.
A block, 6 points. Mike Bailey, Ishimori, Leo Rush. This is as of today. Teton has 4 points. 2 points, Hiromu, Doki, TJP, and Sho. And 0 points, Kushida and Taguchi. Kushida hasn't won anything. Mike Bailey has won everything. That's interesting.
So Kushida's going to win from here on out.
There's a chance that Kushida could win here on out.
That's kind of the usual thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Julius started 0-3 last year.
Yeah.
So
B block, it's way more up in the air. These are the people with 4 points. Kanemaru, Eagles, Desperado, Connors, Maloney, Akira, all have 4 points. Watto, Yo, and Kevin Knight has 2 points, which, by the way, first 2 nights, Kevin Knight loses. By the way, spoilers for night 2. First 2 nights.
I like Kevin Knight.
Kevin Knight loses. He loses to Clark Connors, and then they do a post-match beatdown, which I think wasn't the most effective thing they could have done.
Yeah, I think you made a good point on that. It should have been like Doki.
It should have been Doki.
They're not on the same block, but you get my point.
It should have been someone that was more, that had more
Over
people, more of the Japanese audience invested in, or Kevin Knight should have won, and then Clark Connors beats him up.
Kevin Knight's going to be that guy that I think helps fix this tournament down the line.
What do you mean?
Right, like he's exciting. He's going to be a very exciting guy to see in this 1, 2, 3 years down the line.
He has charisma, but like everybody else, he's figuring it out still.
He's like I don't even know how long he's wrestled, but it's not a long time. And he's much more exciting than like half of the block. How old is Kevin Knight? He's 26. He's only wrestled since 2019. Joined the New Japan system in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
he's only been wrestling for 40 years.
Yeah, pretty much. So for me, the more he has 118 matches in his career.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He's gonna be one of those exciting guys. But I think you were not wrong with saying this is going to be a tournament where a lot of nights overall aren't going to be that exciting. You might have one match per show that's exciting, but otherwise it's fine.
I think this is going to be an aggressively fine tournament in actuality, and I wish I saw it sooner. And I wish I was able to temper the things.
We saw it midweek this week.
Yeah, we hyped it up, and then we looked at the actual schedule, and we're like, actually, this kind of looks.
Look, I'm looking at the next couple days, right?
Sure.
I'm gonna tell you when I see an exciting match.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just move on to the next segment while you're still looking.
El Desperado and Kevin Knight, just because it's gonna get Kevin Knight's a different level, but it's not like going to be like a 4-star match.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Teton and Mike Bailey could be fun. I just love Teton.
Yeah,
love Teton.
And don't get me wrong,
we needed more lucha influence. Damn it!
I don't.
You can't give me Fantastica Mania and then just only give me Teton.
Give me Soberano Jr.
If you gave me Mystico, I would have gave you. Oh my god, this tournament would be the most electrifying thing of all time.
You give me Mystico, that would be fantastic.
Mystico doing the same thing every night and me being like, yeah, that was the greatest thing of all time. Would have been great.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Resurgence. The show's happening next Sunday, May 21st. This
kind of snuck up, huh?
Yeah, it feels like it kind of snuck up. It was always there.
Mercedes Monet's next match just kind of is here.
All of a sudden, next 2 matches. supposedly.
Oh yeah.
Supposedly, I would assume, is happening in a couple days. In a week from now, this Sunday, and the Long Beach
What
Walter Pyramid in
is
California.
that match?
Are you looking at the card?
A DKC versus Bateman.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. So the card is they got 2 kickoff matches: Alex Coughlin versus Christopher Daniels, and the DKC versus Bateman. Give me your excitement level.
Alex Coughlin versus Chris Daniels would be kind of cool. The I will not watch the DKC versus Bateman.
Fair enough. We are going to have a strong women's championship tournament. We got 2 first-round matches here. We'll talk about at the same time. Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer. And then we also have Momo Kogo versus Willow Nightingale. I think everyone has really immediately thought it's going to be Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale.
That's pretty cool.
I would be shocked by a Momo Kogo push here. And Stephanie I've never seen wrestle before, but apparently you say she's good.
I think Stephanie Vaquer is the second best wrestler in this tournament.
There's only 4, so
I like Willow, but I think she's definitely better than Willow. That match is probably going to be the best match of the tournament.
The Stephanie Vaquer and the Mercedes Moné one.
Yeah, like I'm really excited about that one.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out to Momo Kogo. She's been out since
like a concussion or something, right?
She got Grand Queendom, yeah. So hopefully it's just because she's getting ready for this. Obviously Monet is winning this title, so like we can't really give much preview to it. It's like, all right, well, none of these people are beating her.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not.
No.
They're not.
If Willow won, that would be a shock.
New Japan crowning Willow before Tony Khan did in 2 different companies. Incredible.
It'd be incredible. We'll see what happens. Third match: Bad Dude Tito and Zack Sabre Jr. versus
Beast
versus Virus and Barbaro Cavernario. CMLL.
When the hell did Cavernario make his way to this show? I didn't know that. I was
CMLL.
Like,
Speaking of CMLL, TMDK Australia versus CMLL Lucha Wrestlers.
So you bastards can get Cavernario to the US for the show, but you couldn't get him to Japan for the tournament?
Well, I believe
what do you hate me?
I believe technically he's a heavyweight.
He is?
I believe he is.
He don't look that big.
He's a dense man.
Fair enough. Good for him.
Good for him. They're probably going to lose to TMDK. Fourth match.
They should.
Fourth match, street fight. Fred Rosser versus Juice Robinson. Of course, this is the
Wait a minute. Time out. This isn't on Fight?
What? It's on what? Hold on. Huh? How do I watch this?
It's only on New Japan?
Oh, I don't like that.
I might like that. It stinks on Fight.
Well, good. Interesting. I didn't think about that. Well, no, hold on. But it's never Fight's fault because I've never had this issue of any other show be on New Japan on Fight.
Well, I just think Fight's production stinks overall. But that's another conversation for another day.
But Fight's not producing it. Fight don't produce most of the shows.
We're blaming Fight until we see what it looks like on New Japan World now. Okay? Deal?
I'm blaming New Japan. I'm blaming New Japan.
I'm shocked.
I am also.
Yeah. It's on New Japan World only.
Fascinating.
And it's cheaper.
How much is it on New Japan?
$22. Hell yeah. Do I buy English? Why can't I get both?
You can't get both?
You only get one. Well, you can get both, but you only get one for the price of.
You have to buy both to get the options.
Yeah,
I see. Well, have fun with that. But street fight: Fred Rosser versus Juice Robinson. They were going to have a match, and then Juice Robinson beat the piss out of Fred Rosser, and then they didn't have a match, and now they're going to have a street fight here.
They didn't. Yeah, sure, great.
So we're getting a street fight. It should be good. I think this should be good.
Yeah, it should be good.
I like Fred Rosser.
I like me some rock hard Juice Robinson, baby.
Oh yeah, baby. I think just
bang bang gang represent.
Bang Bang Gang. Is Jay White on the show? No way.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Jay White better beat Ricky Starks, by the way. Or Tony Khan. We're going to have a talk.
Yeah, I agree. Strong openweight title match. A rematch from the last match. Hikuleo versus Kenta. The match,
Womp womp.
the match was fine when I saw it for the first time. Not excited to see what they build upon fine.
All right, this next match.
This next match slaps. Rocky Romero, Tomohiro Ishii, and Kazuchika Okada versus Wheeler Yuta, Shota Umino, and John Moxley.
And his dad.
His father, Jonathan Mox.
This should be good.
This should be good.
I guess we know what team's challenging at Dominion.
You mean Rocky's eating the pin here?
Yeah, and it'll be Wheeler because
what's that? You're cut out a little bit.
we're never gonna get Danielson or Claudio in this fucking company.
Well, someone's got to eat the pinfall, and with Shota in here, that's not going to be Shota for whatever reason.
Or
should be Shota.
Listen, I hope this is all to set up that Shota doesn't have to fucking run around with his second jacket anymore. That's what I think it's gonna be. I think Mox is probably gonna lay him out after they lose.
I hope for this match, Shota does not replicate Okada, Moxley, or Tanahashi or Naito. He just replicates Ishii.
You leave Shota alone right now. Shota is good.
I refuse. Shota is
good. Shota is the future, and you will accept it.
No, the future is Yota Tsuji. I'm a huge Yota Tsuji guy. Over Shota?
You haven't even seen Yota Tsuji have a match yet.
I don't care. I am on
his match with Sonata might stink up the place, and you just sold out on Evil 2.0.
We'll find out. But I either get Evil 2.0 or Okada 2.0, and I think that's the gamble I'm willing to take.
I don't think you get Okada 2.0. I think if anything, you get as a wrestler. Try to think. I have no idea. I don't know the last time I watched a Yota Tsuji match, so I can't even tell you what kind of wrestler he is.
Fair enough.
He has a good spear though.
IWGP. What's that move he used to do? Where
I just said I can't tell you the last time we did a match.
It's no, he does a big old splash.
He's cool. I like him. Splash. I'm excited for Yota Tsuji.
Me too.
He should probably get on some of these shows though, huh?
We gotta wait for Dominion. We gotta wait till June to see this man.
Is he just not gonna wrestle till then? Actually, he's back at CML, which is great.
Yeah,
hilarious.
He's finishing up his tour there. IWGP US Championship #1 Contenders Tournament first round match: Hiroshi Tanahashi versus William Ospreay.
Ospreay wins, but obviously he's gonna be good.
Yeah, this should be real good. And then the main event: New Japan Strong Women's Championship match. Probably Mercedes Moné versus Willow.
They know who the draw is. I'll just say that.
What's interesting about this show is that it's always interesting about New Japan shows, in between the big shows, is that most of these matches I could probably guess. The top 3, I can guess who's winning, right?
Yeah.
Hikuleo, I'll also guess that he's winning, so I'll say 4. I could guess.
No idea between Fred and Juice.
No idea for that one. That's the only one I definitely don't know. But
they're always predictable.
Yeah, for the most part, these are always predictable. However, these are also going to be all really good to great matches.
Yeah.
So
did you see the All Together Again lineup?
I've seen some. I think there's only been 2 or 3 matches announced, right?
Well, did you see what the main event is? That's all you need to see.
Well, it's incredibly impossible to read on the website, but I assume the main event is Kiyomiya, Kento Miyohara, and Tanahashi versus Kano, Yuma Aoyagi, and Kazuchika Okada.
It's real graps, baby.
We got Okada and Kiyomiya on the opposite side of a match once again.
Listen, I'm gonna get to see Kento and Okada square up in any form.
I really hope they continue the rivalry between them. I pray to God.
They absolutely are. Kiyomiya literally tweeted calling himself the main character. And I said, yeah. Yeah, you are.
Yes,
Yeah, you are, buddy. Keep telling yourself that, you nerd. I love Kaito, but poor guy. He's had a tough couple. He's had a tough couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost to Okada.
Uh-huh.
Pretty much destroyed by Okada.
He got his shit kicked in
And,
by Okada and then
And
lost
then,
to him.
and then Jake Lee ran through him.
and then he couldn't make it to the WWE Hall of Fame.
This poor guy. I like him though. He's really good, so it's okay. All right, is that the end of the show?
Well, I was going to walk you through the Queen of the Indies. We got a couple more minutes. So you watched this show last night. This is West Coast Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Revolution's Queen
On
of the
accident,
Indies.
I watched it live. I never watch things live.
What do you think of the tournament?
Thought it was good.
Better
Better than
good?
King of Indies.
Wow, that's good. I heard King of Indies sucked ass. So
easily better than King of Indies.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
what were some of the standout matches?
Maria versus Mio Momono, which shouldn't come as much of a shock. I thought Billy Starks kind of wrestled circles around Unagi Sayaka.
Really? Interesting.
I think Unagi. I've had some takes on Unagi lately.
Mm-hmm.
I think Unagi's kind of dropped the ball a little bit since leaving Stardom. I think she hasn't evolved at all. Mm-hmm. And if anything, I think she's backtracked a little bit. From like
Anna Jay syndrome.
Yeah, I mean she's still better than Anna Jay. Hold on.
We're not in disagreement about that.
But she's just not where I think she was going in Stardom, and obviously that has to do with not having maybe a reason to anymore. Because she's just on the indies and stuff like that. She's still very popular. I was told she was the most popular person there last night, which shouldn't really come as a shock.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Hyan and Slamovich was pretty good too.
Okay.
I didn't see the only match I didn't get to see was Lady Frost and
Dolce Tormenta.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that one, but Lady Frost is quite good. They had it was cool to see Chigusa Nagayo. Obviously, legend of the business, seeing her wrestle. Takumi Iroha and Nicole Savoy had a little good point in that match. I have no idea who Charisma is. There was just this girl named Charisma in this match. I was like, why does she get to wrestle Chigusa Nagayo? I was like, why is she the one?
Was she the one pinned?
No, Nicole Savoy was.
Really? Well, I guess she's
Nicole
retired.
Savoy's not around. Yeah, she's retired and came back for like one match.
She's like, oh yeah, I'll wrestle Iroha. And
I'll wrestle. I'll come and wrestle Chigusa Nagayo. Oh, sure. Then they had a tag match to decide the finals. Yeah. I was like, oh, so politics, nice. But it wasn't because they just put the two champions on the same side. They put Masha and Mio on the same side. I was like, all right, they better be the ones in the finals then, which they were. Thank God. I thought Lady Frost and Unagi were fun together. I thought Unagi looked better in this match than she did against Billy Stark, and obviously, she could communicate with Mio easier, so that definitely helped.
Sure.
As opposed to Billy. So she definitely felt comfortable in there. I thought her and Mio looked good. It was Unagi who took the fall.
Interesting.
Which I thought was a little interesting. Obviously, Lady Frost could have. I mean, she's not signed.
And who pinned Unagi?
I believe it was Mio Momono who pinned Unagi.
Okay.
And they both work for Marvelous, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, that's fine.
Unagi's not a full time with Marvelous, but at this point she pretty much is.
Yeah.
And then the main event I thought was it was the best women's match on US soil this year.
Really? Masha Slamovich, Mio Momono, Queen of the Indies final match of the year.
US soil.
US women's match of the year.
So far. It's either that or Jamie Hayter and Sakura.
That was a good match. That was really good. But you're saying
or Athena and someone. Athena and Sakura was good. Athena and Willow was good. Rhea, we talked about Rhea and Charlotte. Rhea and Charlotte's second half was good.
yeah. What about Rhea Vega? What about that one? Was that up there?
Not even close.
I guess it wasn't technically U.S. soil. It was technically U.S. territory soil. So
it also was just a wrestling match. That just was yeah. But I thought it was. I thought this was the best I think I've seen Masha.
Okay.
And there's a comfortability there for her. Obviously, she trained with Marvelous.
Yeah.
Mio Momono was very emotional heading into this match. I think she wasn't even supposed to be in this tournament.
Really?
It was Queen Aminata. Queen Aminata got hurt.
You were right. They replaced
Mio jumped
Momono.
in. I think Queen Aminata might have won this had that been the case. But Mio jumped in. These two were really good. It felt as important as a final should, which is very rare in the indies. I've learned.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah, like I had a lot, and obviously I love Mio Momono, so that helps. But I thought Masha Slamovich was like Masha's so good.
Yeah.
And it pains me that Tony Khan missed so badly. Like that's one of the signings he should have made right off the rip. She wrestled on Dark a few times. He didn't.
Yeah.
Now she's an Impact, and she's done good in Impact, but I don't know. I think she's a stud. I guess the big part is King of the Indies come back. Who cares about that? Queen of Indies is heading to Japan.
Really?
The next time they're doing Queen of Indies will be in Japan, as announced by Chigusa Nagayo.
Really? I assume
that's exciting.
That is very exciting.
So I was like, all right, you could put like 2 indies people in there, and then the rest you just do Joshi talent, and we call it a day.
And you have to imagine it's going to be probably Masha, probably Queen Aminata is going to make the call.
Yeah, pretty much anyone that's worked with Marvelous or got trained by Marvelous.
Yeah,
I think Sandra Moon's going over to train with them now.
Yeah, I saw also was it Promise
people
Braxton and
Gigi Ray, I think was the name.
And then
heard good things about both of them, so that's exciting.
So it's always exciting to see talent getting
and I think
cool training
I
spots.
think some West Coast Pro talent's going over there because they already have a guy over there, James Thorne, whose like second match ever or something was like in Cork and Hall. And I think they're sending more of their like trainees there, which should be cool. So overall, it was a success. An indie show was a success, and you and me we like West Coast Pro, so I was happy to see it.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of the difference in quality between. I mean, obviously there's the Joshi talent, which probably played a huge part of it too, but we also had Noah talent in the other one. If I recall,
they were on the other they were on King of Indies. They didn't actually wrestle in the tournament.
Perfect. I couldn't remember.
They also had politics at hand. I remember.
Oh yes, there were heavy politics at hand.
Wasn't like Dragon Lee refusing to lose or something
like that.
And then he went to WWE where he has to lose.
He didn't put anyone over on the way out. He won the tag titles from FTR and then left.
He sucks. Love him.
I wonder how much of this change also.
Him and Dralistico refused to go over, so they did a triple threat final.
Yes. I wonder how much of this different change of booking or whatever is due in part with the Chris Hero now booking West Coast Pro. I know this is a joint show of Pro Wrestling Revolution and stuff, but Chris Hero being part of the show now, and it feels like they were already starting to have more of a Joshi base in West Coast Pro, but it feels like, especially at this show, that we've gotten a lot more.
Yeah, they have a full-on partnership now with Marvelous.
Yeah, so
that's exciting for them, and I think that's a lot to do with Masha too, because Masha obviously has that connection. But Chris Hero taking this over is very exciting.
Yeah,
like we never talked about that. Never really had a time to talk about that. Chris Hero has a great wrestling mind. So I'm excited to see what West Coast Pro continues to do. They're one of the only promotions I give a shit about when I see their shows. I'm going to be honest, like indie promotions.
Yeah.
And it'll remain that way because they seem to care.
Yeah.
Which sadly you can't always say.
Yeah. Right? It's for me, it is Rev Pro. It is Defy, West Coast Pro, and
Deadlock.
I haven't gotten to the point of Deadlock yet.
Oh, I've gotten to the point of Deadlock. They've become like I want to see a lot of their shows now.
Yeah.
But I think you named all the ones that I'm definitely there with you. Oh my God, Rachel Ellering got booked for West Coast Pro.
Shocker. Prestige is also kind of up there. They have matches where I'm like, I'll look at a card from Prestige.
I think Nicole Savoy lied. I think she's back.
Oh, that Nagai, she's
She's
got the
wrestling
Nagayo
in June.
fever, as it were.
Wrestling in June.
I'm glad the show was good. I'm definitely gonna check it out. Is the rest of the tournament worth watching, or just watch the finals?
I'd watch Maria and Mio,
Mm-hmm.
and you're probably gonna. You watch the tag too. Tag's good.
The 6-woman tag, or the
Yeah, the 6-woman tag's fun. It's not like anything essential. Takumi was like heads and shoulders above everyone.
Mhm.
So I mean, she did a lot of the work, but she also absolutely tossed Nicole Savoy.
So you're saying basically
times.
watch the Mio Momono matches, her match, the tag semifinal, and then the final.
Yeah, it's very on brand for me. But yeah, she's good. She's very good.
Well,
yeah, I think that's it. But good indie show. And hey, listen, I'll take that any day of the week. I just saw that they're for West Coast Pro show Kid Zombie, I think it's called.
Yep.
They booked the infantry, and I think that's wonderful. I like the infantry.
Yeah, I like seeing a little infantry action,
as well as Vert Vixen.
Good.
And just had it, but I disappeared. Calvin Tankman.
Like, it feels like he's disappeared in the past couple of years.
Yeah. Thanks, MLW. Jerks. Rachel Ellering, like I said. They booked Mao from DDT.
Nice.
For a Cruel Summer in July. They just book like random things. They have so much going on. They're like, that's like the one thing with indie promotions that it's so hard to fault. Kevin Knight's also booked for Kid Zombie. It'll be Kevin Knight versus Brian Keith.
Wow, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. But that's like my one problem with indies overall is that they announce way too much at the same time. And I think this is more of a GCW problem.
Sure.
Because they announce like 7 shows at once. And obviously this is what you're supposed to do, but they have so many shows going on. It's hard to keep track of like.
Well, also GCW doesn't have like a website. Like the only way to like
that's my point.
Track the actual matches or anything is by going to Cage Match or they're
this is my point.
On Twitter.
You need to have websites.
Yeah. Especially GCW at this point. They're touring all over the place.
Do I have to go to Hartford, Connecticut?
What's that happening in Hartford?
Psycho Clown.
Psycho Clown in Hartford, Connecticut?
Sounds like it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Is this a GCW event or?
Yeah, I'm not actually going to go.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I went for the Vikingo match. That was pretty good.
Yeah, well, I would have too.
Yes,
no, I wouldn't. I didn't go to Will Ospreay and Nick Wayne. What am I kidding?
That is true. You had the opportunity to see Will Ospreay in person. You were like, ooh, pass.
Ooh, ooh.
Rough stuff.
You know who I'd rather see in person? I don't know.
Mio Momono?
Yeah, that's
accurate.
Yeah, no, definitely. 100% actually. They're doing Vikingo and Commander again. Oh, and Gringo Loco. Okay, it's different. Now I'm stuck on the GCW.
Okay, you're spiraling. You're spiraling. I can see it happening now. Let us close out of the show. Thank you everybody for listening to this week's episode of Ring Buzz Radio. We thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers or expecting mothers. Or
that reminds me. No. This is so much funny. So there was some random tag match before the finals. Had no idea who any of the people were except for Brooke Havoc. Yes. One of the people were introduced as the baddest MILF.
Huh?
and I texted someone. I said, mind you, they said let's put the baddest MILF, self-proclaimed, mind you, after Chigusa Nagayo.
Was this so? This is Brooke Havoc.
It was the baddest MILF
and Johnny Robbie versus Rochelle Riveter, which is that just a Rosie the Riveter gimmick?
Ryan, I muted the screen and I watched Best of the Super.
Was the baddest MILF possibly Mac Daddy Milo?
Ooh, maybe. I just wanted you to know, as we celebrate Mother's Day,
well, there
was someone called the baddest MILF.
Happy Mother's Day to all mothers, expecting mothers, and of course, probably Mac Daddy Milo. If you want to follow the show, subscribe to it wherever you get podcasting. Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you want. Subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. We got a bunch of fun stuff on the way. Trust us. We got a bunch of fun stuff on the way.
Yeah.
It's confirmed. We got it scheduled on the way. So so make sure you subscribe to the Ring Post Radio podcast audio feed, because that's the only place where you get to hear the fun stuff that's on the way. Scotty, anything to plug?
Follow me at Scotty Wrestling on Twitter. Episode or part 2 of the Hana Kimura series comes out on Stardom Road this Tuesday. That's all recorded.
That actually reminds me. I was going to tell you in Slack, but I'll tell you right here, live on the show. First episode of the Hana Kimura. Maybe not too much of a shocker. The most downloaded within a week. Most downloads within a week of any episode of Stardom Road.
Yeah,
it broke it broke numbers.
Yes, she is, and that's the lesser popular phase of her career. So
that's the beginning
very excited
of her
about
career.
this one.
Yeah.
This show, this is our longest episode to date. We went a good amount of time talking about her time with Tokyo Cyber Squad, her 5-star Grand Prix run, her unfortunate passing, the celebrations of life that have followed. Overall, it's a very happy episode, even talking about the tough times.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely check out that on Tuesday, and thank you everyone, I guess, for listening to the first one, because like I said, Hana Kimura the draw. As she should be. And I think that's good for now. I think that's all set for now.
Sure.
I think I have to have a match of the week. Oh, god damn
it. It's only the thing we do every week.
Edge versus AJ Styles versus Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, I want to watch that. I gotta watch that.
Because I was a little kid and it was fun to watch. I was like, oh, this is cool seeing all that. And also, AJ looked his best in a very long time. That's coming from someone. And this was probably Edge's best match since Seth Rollins.
All right.
That was 2021, I think.
All right. That's good.
And Rey Mysterio's good.
That's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
WWE
match. You're welcome, folks.
I am going to plug. What am I going to plug?
The Patreon?
I am going to plug the Patreon. So we have on the Patreon, of course, at the end of the month will be the Double or Nothing live show, only for $1. So obviously for the $1 tier or the $5 tier, basically just join the Patreon right now, and you can make sure you'll be able to get that Double or Nothing live review, our live immediate thoughts about Double or Nothing at the end, May 28th, at the end of the show. Along with that, we have a lot of great shows on it. Starting in June, I'll announce it here. In the second season of Ryan Hasn't Seen Anything will officially be coming out. Our Ryan, I'm saying myself in the third person, Scotty and I's sort of watch-along series of matches I've never seen. We have a lot of fun matches this season.
I tried to not give away anything that we watched this week with the match of the week, mind you.
Well, so. I appreciate it, because you and I both know what the best match is. Shout out Doug Croffett. Danny Croffett,
baby!
Danny Croffett. Our new favorite wrestler. And yeah, no, we got a lot of fun stuff in that season already filmed, already recorded. So that will start coming out in June, probably June 5th. So start around our 100th episode, the same day as our 100th episode, June 5th. So we'll have that season 2 starting then. I also want to plug in the Patreon a new series I just started on the $5 tier.
I saw this and I laughed.
It's fantastic. It's called New Blood. It is episode 1 is already out. I am doing a sort of retrospective series on post Elite Ring of Honor. So this is like January 2019 as AEW starting. What did Ring of Honor look like, and how do they try to fix themselves post Elite? Maybe not fix themselves, but fix their issues, and losing pretty much every single roster member they had. The important ones at the very least. And how they tried to make new stars, and by bringing in new blood, and all that to be said, looking explicitly through the lens of the greatest stable in the history of wrestling, Lifeblood. Lifeblood, baby.
This is a commitment to the bit like I've never seen before.
I have 3 episodes already recorded. The first one's already out. You can listen to it on the $5 tier of
Dig
Patreon.
it.
Patreon.com/countoutpod. It's really good. I think it's a really good episode. So for $5 right now, you can get New Blood episode 1. You can get all of our old stuff. You will get the new season of Ryan Hasn't Seen Anything. You will get our thoughts of Double or Nothing Live. So $5 a month. We would appreciate it. You will get season 1, or you will have gotten season 1 of Ryan Hasn't Seen Anything. So there's a lot of great stuff in the Patreon right now, and I'm working hard to put more wrestling content in there. With New Blood, I have a series also beyond that I'm also working on. And whenever I start working on that, I will let you know. Or when that's ready to go, I'll start letting you know. But check out the Patreon, patreon.com/countoutpod. That's my big old.
Oh, I just remembered something.
What's that?
Number 1. Cereisms this week. Cere's back wrestling.
Correct.
Well, that's exciting. I'm sure I'll have a thought or two on that on her return. And 2, I guess the one other thing I'll push, but you can't read it unless you know Japanese, is that
Great.
I have articles going on Marvelous's website. So yes, by default, I am obviously cheering them up because I don't actually work for them, but I work for them enough. So that's pretty cool if you want to check that out, even though you can't read it like I can. But I have the English version connected, so you can read the English version from there. But that's my last thing. And I wanted to just bring up the Suri thing because obviously that's kind of a big deal.
Perfect.
It's a good show, too. Good card.
Show. All right. My match of the week is going to be
Lifeblood versus.
Well, they did have a great match.
Of course they did.
And was it? And I think episode 2 has a
it's
match
so
that
funny.
has the first match I gave 4 stars to. And
it's so funny that Juice Robinson, during his hottest period, was also part of that group.
Yeah, when Lifeblood begins, he is IWGP US Heavyweight Champion, and he won it off of Cody Rhodes. That is how Lifeblood begins.
This is Lifeblood.
But I talk about all that stuff in New Blood. I think that's a good show. My match of the week, speaking of old matches, 1993. Going all the way to June 13th, 1993. The King of the Ring pay-per-view. The match between Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect. Great match.
I've seen that match. It's really good stuff.
That one's good. Obviously, their SummerSlam match is also killer.
Love their SummerSlam match.
They're both very good. I think I went 5 in the SummerSlam match, but I went 4 here. Both really good.
5 on SummerSlam, too.
Yeah, so that was my match of the week. That's the match I saw from this past week. That was really good. From
this past week?
For this past week?
The match was from this past week?
Yeah. It took place I time traveled.
That's terrifying.
I time traveled. I don't know if you know this yet, Scotty, but I invented a time traveling device. So when I say I watched these Lifeblood matches,
you were in there in person?
The first taping took place in Atlanta.
There was probably plenty of seats.
Center Stage is a pretty big arena. It took place.
Yeah.
They Lifeblood deblued. God, fuck the show.
End the show.
We'll see you all next week for another episode of Ring Post Radio.